This is Stop 33. It's Shipyard Cove in East Machias. We're standing here looking at the remains of a shipyard that was built in 1885, and the last ship launched from here was 1825. And the significant thing is that it's stuck in the mud, and the record shows that it took about 100 people and a lot of oxen to pull it out of the mud after the launch. What's happened is that from the time this was built in 1885, mud came into this area from somewhere, down the Machias River, down the river that goes to East Machias, and started to fill this area in behind me, and the marsh grass have grown up subsequently to that. If you look under the marsh over here behind me to the left, you'll find shipbuilding nails and cut boards and other things from the shipbuilding operation under the marsh. So the marsh has grown up over this. It is low marsh grass, so it doesn't help us much in giving us sea level rise. But the sea level rise since this was built is pretty apparent, because behind me we have the working surface of the marsh, working surface of the shipyard. These flat boards are the things that people walked on the docks related, and the wharves related to the shipyard. To the right, well, in any event, they walked there, and we now have sea level rise. It's risen over that surface and is well up here to the right, and when you have a very high tide, it goes inland here about 20 feet from where we're standing and 2 feet higher. So the sea level has come up a considerable distance since this shipyard was actually constructed, because when it was constructed, the working surfaces were not built underwater. They were built above water, so the sea level was down below this level, and now it's up here. Of course, the shipyard has collapsed a little bit under its own weight. The logs are soggy, they're old, and you can't really deduct you can't really take that, measure that. You can't get at that kind of question. But in general, the logs below here look pretty round. They don't look squashed out very much. But I think it is significant that the tide, every tide now comes up just into this grass pretty near, and that's several feet higher than the level at the working surfaces today. So here's another indication of sea level rise in this region. Behind me, way over there, you'll see some white, it looks like a little sign over there, and there's some white shells coming out of the banking. This is an Indian garbage dump for shells. I don't know how old it is, but the salt marsh has come up over those shells. The shells go down lower, and of course the Indians collected shells, dug clams out here at an earlier time, probably 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, and dumped the shells right there in their shell midden. And that was completely above sea level when it was the shell midden, the garbage dump, was accumulating, and now it's underneath the salt marsh and well below the current sea level. It's been a site that's been destroyed essentially by amateurs, so you can't do an awful lot with it from an archaeology point of view.